Think about how much of your life has been shaped by opinions that were never yours. How many days you've lived reacting to what someone else said or did. How many mornings you've started with a mind clouded by worry about how others see you. And how many nights you've gone to sleep still carrying the weight of someone else's expectations. That's no way to live. That's how you lose yourself without even noticing it. There comes a time when you have to take back your attention, not just for a moment, not for a weekend retreat or a break from social media. Take it back for good, reclaim it, own it, because your attention is your life. And if your attention is always on others, what they have, what they do, what they think, you'll always be behind in your own life. You'll keep building someone else's vision while yours sits in silence. You'll wake up years later wondering where the time went and why you never felt fully alive. It's not selfish to think about yourself. It's responsible. It's necessary. Because if you don't think about yourself, who will? No one else is going to do the deep work for you. No one else is going to figure out what's really missing inside you. You have to be the one who steps away from the noise, the pressure, the distractions, and gets clear on what really matters. And that starts with one decision. From this day forward, I focus on myself. You've got to build your mindset like your life depends on it, because it does. Your mindset is the lens through which you see every opportunity, every challenge, every setback. And if that lens is foggy with comparison or insecurity, you'll never see clearly. You'll doubt every move you make. You'll talk yourself out of progress. You'll settle when you should be stretching. You can't keep blaming your surroundings. You can't wait for the perfect situation or the right people to support you. You've got to become your own support system, your own motivator, your own reminder of who you are and what you're capable of. Because nobody can breathe purpose into you. That has to come from inside, from stillness, from brutal honesty, from standing in front of the mirror and saying, this is where I am, and this is where I refuse to stay. You don't grow by being passive. You grow by being intentional. You grow by confronting your habits, by challenging the stories you've been telling yourself, by refusing to stay stuck in the identity that makes you small. Every belief that keeps you afraid, every excuse that keeps you comfortable, that's what you've got to dismantle. Not just once, but daily. Because the world will always give you a reason to quit. The distractions are endless. The doubts are loud. The resistance is real. But so is your power. You don't need more permission. You need more discipline. You need more clarity about what you truly want. Not what you've been told to want. Not what looks good on paper, but what sets your soul on fire. You've got to wake up every day with one mission. How do I make today count for me? Not for the image, not for the followers, for me, for my goals, for my growth. You are not here to live on autopilot. You are not here to coast through days and call it a life. You are here to expand, to sharpen, to build something real. And that requires you to protect your mental space like it's sacred, because it is. You have to become the gatekeeper of your mind. Not every voice gets a seat at your table. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every distraction is worth your time. If it doesn't feed your purpose, it has to go. Simple as that. There's power in silence. There's wisdom in solitude. And there's strength in saying no to noise, to gossip, to anything that pulls you away from who you're trying to become. People might not understand it. They might call you distant or cold. Let them. You're not living for their comfort. You're living for your own clarity. And when you finally start thinking about yourself, your peace, your progress, your potential, that's when things begin to shift. You've got to define what success means to you, not by looking around, but by looking within. Success is not always loud. It's not always applause. Sometimes it's just waking up with a clear conscience. Sometimes it's walking away from drama. Sometimes it's choosing discipline over distraction. That's the kind of success you build when you think about yourself with intention and purpose. The truth is, nobody's coming to rescue you. Not the government, not your job, not your partner. You've got to rescue yourself. You've got to be the one who says, enough. I will not betray myself anymore. I will not keep putting myself last. I will not keep ignoring the fire inside me. You've got a responsibility to rise, to grow, to build a life that reflects your values, not your fears. Start with the way you speak to yourself, with the way you speak to yourself. If your inner voice is full of judgment and shame, you'll sabotage everything you try to create. But if your inner voice becomes your coach, your guide, your daily push, you'll begin to rise, slowly but surely. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. Are you moving forward? Are you learning? Are you facing your truth, even when it's hard? That's the path that leads to real growth. And once you start thinking about yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a grounded, powerful, responsible way, you'll notice something. You'll stop needing validation. You'll stop begging for attention. You'll stop chasing approval, because your focus will be on building, not begging, on creating, not competing, on mastering your time, your mind, your energy, so nothing gets wasted. Life is short, too short to live distracted, too short to spend years proving your worth to people who don't even know themselves, and too short to keep doubting the gift you've been given. You've got time, yes, but not forever. And what you do with this time, right now, matters more than you think. It's easy to delay your growth. It's easy to say later, but later becomes never, and one day becomes one decade. You don't need to impress anyone. You need to become someone you respect, someone you can count on, someone who shows up even when it's inconvenient. That kind of person doesn't get built by chance. That kind of person gets built by consistency, by showing up for yourself day after day. No shortcuts, no handouts, just daily choices that add up to a life of meaning. This is your shot, your chapter, your climb. You can either keep drifting in and out of purpose, or you can go all in. And going all in means you stop waiting. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking every step. You start moving with conviction, with power, with the clarity that this is your life, and no one else is going to build it for you. The world will always offer you distractions. It will tempt you with easy paths. It will reward you for fitting in. But that's not why you're here. You're here to rise, to focus, to build. And it all begins with this one principle. Think about yourself always, not out of arrogance, out of alignment. Because when you're in alignment, everything changes. Your time becomes sacred. Your words become intentional. Your energy becomes focused, and your life becomes your own. Every time you give your energy away to things that don't matter, you steal from your future. You rob yourself of momentum. And once that momentum is gone, it takes serious effort to get it back. That's why protecting your focus isn't optional. It's essential. Because you're not just building habits, you're building a future. And that future is shaped by how well you guard your focus today. You don't need more time. You need more ownership, more accountability. You need to stop waiting for a breakthrough and start becoming the breakthrough. That begins when you think for yourself, not through the lens of trends or popularity, but through clarity, through asking hard questions and refusing easy answers. Who are you when no one's watching? Who are you when it's quiet? When there's no audience, no feedback, no spotlight? What do you stand for then? That's the version of you that matters. The real you, the one that only shows up when you get serious about growth. And growth starts when you stop negotiating with your potential. Stop bargaining with your goals. Stop telling yourself stories that keep you comfortable, and start telling yourself the truth that you've been waiting too long, that you've been playing small, that you've let fear sit in the driver's seat for far too many miles. You don't need to figure out the entire future. You just need to take one step, one choice, one decision that says, I'm done living a watered-down version of who I am. And then do that again tomorrow. Because real change isn't one big moment. It's a string of small wins that build a different life over time. A stronger mind, a sharper will, a deeper sense of who you are and what you will no longer tolerate. Start tracking how you spend your time. Every hour you waste numbing yourself, distracting yourself, talking yourself out of doing the work. That's time you could have been building, time you could have been getting stronger. You've only got so much energy each day. Don't give it to chaos. Don't hand it to other people's drama. Use it to sharpen your vision. Use it to master your craft. Use it to outgrow the version of you that settles. Thinking about yourself always means refusing to lie to yourself. No more pretending. No more covering it up with fake smiles and surface-level habits. It means facing the habits that keep you stagnant, the patterns that sabotage your progress, the behaviors that look innocent but are draining your discipline. Get honest about what's holding you back. Stop blaming others. Stop the excuses. Stop pretending you need more motivation. What you need is more self-respect. Because when you respect yourself, you follow through. When you respect yourself, you show up. You rise early. You say no to nonsense. You stay ready. You become someone who leads yourself. You don't need constant reminders. You don't need someone checking up on you. You know what's at stake. You know what it costs to stay stuck. And that awareness becomes your drive. That awareness becomes your fire. Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they forget. They forget why they started. They forget what it cost to get here. They forget what it feels like to betray their own word. But when you keep yourself centered, when you always think about yourself with clarity, with purpose, you never forget. You don't need a complicated plan. You need a real commitment. A firm decision that says, I will no longer ignore my potential. That's how you start changing your life. Not with hype, not with emotional highs that fade, but with quiet consistency, with internal standards that don't bend, no matter who's watching. That's how discipline gets built. That's how inner strength is formed. One promise to yourself at a time. You don't get better by accident. You don't stumble into progress. It takes strategy. It takes showing up even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the test. That's where growth lives, in the resistance, in the pressure, in the days that tempt you to fall back. You don't rise by avoiding the hard moments. You rise by enduring them, by learning from them, by using them as fuel, not as excuses. The world will reward the ones who stay focused. It will open doors for those who are prepared. But if you're always reacting, always comparing, always waiting, you'll miss those doors. You'll walk right past opportunities because you were distracted by things that don't move your life forward. That's why your mindset matters. That's why your focus must stay sharp. You don't owe anyone your attention. You owe it to your purpose. There is no finish line in personal growth. There is no day where you arrive and everything becomes easy. But there is a point where it becomes natural, when the hard work becomes your rhythm, when the discipline becomes your identity. That only happens when you stop negotiating. Stop waiting for motivation. Start living as if this is your only shot, because it is. People will criticize your focus. They'll call it selfish. They'll call it obsessive. But those are the words of people who settled, people who gave up on their own climb. Don't listen to them. Stay with your vision. Protect it. Build it in silence. Water it daily. Let your results speak for you. You don't have to announce your moves. Just make them. Let your character show through your actions. Let your commitment speak without needing applause. Your life doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be yours. Designed by your own values. Shaped by your own priorities. That's the life you build when you think about yourself. Not through ego, but through responsibility. You become someone who moves with purpose, not noise. Someone who builds with patience, not pressure. Someone who chooses peace over popularity. You've been given a mind, a body, a chance. Don't waste it. Don't coast through years, hoping something will change. Be the change. Be the one who makes discipline look normal. Be the one who stands up straight in a world that's slouching. Be the one who speaks truth, even when it's uncomfortable. That's what real confidence looks like. It's quiet, it's earned, and it's rooted in how well you know yourself. Everything begins with that self-respect. When you respect yourself, you stop allowing things that drain you. You stop giving energy to people who don't value it. You stop playing roles that shrink your spirit. Respecting yourself means doing the work, keeping the promises, learning the lessons, and moving on from what no longer fits your future. You don't get stronger by staying the same. You get stronger by choosing discomfort, by choosing effort, by facing what you've been avoiding. And when you do that daily, something powerful happens. You start to trust yourself again. You start to feel proud, not in a loud, boastful way, but in a steady, grounded way. A way that says, I know who I am. I know where I'm going. And nothing is going to pull me off track. That's what it means to think about yourself always. to carry your goals with you like armor, to speak to yourself with conviction, to walk with purpose, not for show, not for likes, but because you refuse to live any other way. This is your time. This is your life. Stay focused. Stay strong. Keep building. Stop looking for signs. Stop waiting for someone to push you. Stop hoping the world will give you permission. You already have everything you need to start. The challenge isn't out there. It's inside. It's the resistance that rises every time you choose growth over comfort. It's the hesitation that creeps in when you know what you should do, but still stall. That's the battle, and it's won through decisions, not feelings, through action, not intention. You don't win by feeling ready. You win by doing it anyway. Discipline is built on the days you don't feel like showing up. Progress is earned when you push past the mental noise that tells you to stop. Every time you choose to show up when it would have been easier to quit, you send a message to your mind. We don't fold that message. Repeated enough becomes your identity. And once it becomes who you are, everything changes. Thinking about yourself doesn't mean selfishness. It means self-mastery. It means taking control of your time, your thoughts, your decisions. It means managing your energy like it's gold, because it is. And if you waste it trying to please, impress, or chase validation, you'll never have enough left to build the life you actually want. Your energy is sacred. Protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. You don't need more noise. You need more stillness. Stillness to think. Stillness to reflect. Stillness to realign with what actually matters. That stillness, that quiet moment alone, is where truth rises. It's where your real voice can be heard without the opinions, without the pressure, without the pretending. And once you hear that voice, your own voice, you stop following the crowd. You start leading yourself. You don't rise by following trends. You rise by building principles, solid, grounded, non-negotiable principles that shape your daily actions. Principles that don't bend just because it's hard or inconvenient. That's what separates the driven from the drifting. One group lives by feelings, the other by values. One survives the day, the other builds a legacy. There's nothing glamorous about the process. It's early mornings, late nights, repeating the same routine when no one notices, getting better when no one claps, facing doubt when the results are slow. But those who make it don't need constant rewards. They're driven by something deeper, a personal contract they signed with their own potential. A contract that says, I won't let myself down again. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a clean break from distraction, from the stories that keep you small, from the belief that someday you'll feel ready. That belief is a trap. The truth is, you're either doing it or delaying it. There is no in between. Action creates clarity. Waiting creates confusion. Start, and the path will shape itself under your feet. Most people are addicted to delay, addicted to comfort, addicted to the emotional highs of dreaming without the work. Don't be one of them. Be the exception. Be the one who follows through. Be the one who chooses effort when others choose escape. Be the one who moves in silence while others post their plans. Be the one who wakes up and gets to it. No negotiation, no drama, just commitment. You don't have to be the best in the room. You just have to be better than you were yesterday. That's the goal. That's the standard. Not perfection, but progress. And progress only happens when you refuse to disappear when it gets hard. When you stop ghosting your own goals. When you stop giving yourself an easy way out. Hold yourself to a higher standard, even if no one else does. Especially if no one else does. This is your life. No one else is coming to save it. No one else is responsible for your discipline. No one else will carry the weight of your unfulfilled potential. You will, so make sure you're doing something with it. Make sure you're showing up in a way your future self will thank you for. Most people lose because they drift. They don't decide. They don't commit. They don't lock in and go all in. They let distractions win. They let comfort win. They let people's opinions win. If you want to win, you have to decide, and that decision has to become a daily habit. You don't just decide once. You decide again and again every single day, through your actions. And when life gets messy, and it will. Your discipline becomes your anchor. When your emotions are all over the place, your routine holds you steady. When the world feels uncertain, your habits keep you grounded. That's why you need to build them now. Not when it's easy. Now when it's hard, because anyone can rise when things are smooth. Few can rise when it's storming. Be one of the few. Thinking about yourself means choosing the hard route. The one without shortcuts. The one that demands more effort and less applause. It's not glamorous. It's not fast, but it's real, and real growth, real strength, never comes quick. It comes from persistence. It comes from the quiet hours when no one's watching, and you still choose to show up anyway. You're not competing with anyone else. The real battle is with who you were yesterday. Did you learn? Did you grow? Did you follow through? Did you resist the temptation to fall back into your old patterns? That's the metric. That's the scoreboard. And if you keep showing up, keep leveling up, day by day, then you're winning. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to change the way you think, because the way you think determines what you do. And what you do, consistently, determines who you become. So change starts the moment you stop entertaining weak thoughts. The moment you stop saying I can't, and start asking how can I? The moment you stop telling yourself why it won't work, and start telling yourself why it must. Every time you think clearly, act with intention, and protect your energy, you cast a vote for the future you're building. And those votes add up. They compound. They become habits. Habits become character, and character becomes your destiny. But it all begins with where you place your focus, who you listen to, what you allow into your mind, and how committed you are to thinking about yourself. Always. You weren't meant to blend in. You weren't meant to repeat the same year of your life over and over. You're here to evolve, to expand, to become. That doesn't happen on accident. That doesn't happen when you're passive. It happens when you take the reins. When you stop apologizing for wanting more. When you stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. Be the one who stands up for your vision, even when it feels shaky. Be the one who commits to the process, even when the progress is slow. Be the one who refuses to give up on yourself, no matter how many times you've slipped in the past. This is not about perfection. This is about momentum. And momentum is built through action, through thinking about yourself and aligning your life with what matters most. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are simply untrained. So train, show up, push forward, think for yourself, build from within. And never forget, the more you think about yourself with clarity, conviction, and courage, the less you'll be controlled by anything or anyone else. Every day you don't act on your potential. You're voting against it. Every day you ignore your standards, you lower them without realizing it. The gap between who you are and who you could be doesn't close with wishes. It closes with work. Work that doesn't beg for recognition. Work that's done in silence, in solitude, in focus. That kind of work shapes you. It builds a mind that doesn't panic under pressure, a will that doesn't fold when tired, and a spirit that doesn't retreat when life tests you. You can't fake strength. You either build it or you break when it matters most. And you don't build it by seeking ease. You build it by facing what's hard and refusing to run. This is what most people avoid. They run from discomfort. They run toward distractions. They let temporary relief steal permanent progress. That's not how you win. You win by showing up differently. You win by asking more from yourself. You win by deciding that your future deserves more than your excuses. The world will try to pull your attention in every direction, but inward. It will tempt you with shortcuts, comfort, and popularity. But you don't grow from being distracted. You grow from being intentional. You grow from cutting off the noise and tuning into your vision. That kind of focus is rare, but it's what separates those who talk from those who transform. Thinking about yourself doesn't mean obsessing over flaws. It means becoming obsessed with rising, obsessed with becoming better, obsessed with breaking your own limits. Because no one is coming to carry you through the hard seasons. No one is coming to force you to grow. That responsibility is yours. That weight is yours. And if you're strong enough to own it, you'll never again be at the mercy of your circumstances. The truth is, most people are uncomfortable being alone with themselves. Because when it's just you, no distractions, no noise, you have to face the truth. You have to confront the areas where you've been hiding. You have to admit where you've sold yourself short. And that kind of honesty can hurt. But it's the only path to real strength. If you can face yourself without running, if you can sit with your pain and still decide to grow, you become unshakable. Growth doesn't come from the world giving you more. It comes from you becoming more clear, more consistent, more disciplined, more focused. And every day is a test. Not a test from the world, but a test of your own commitment. Will you choose what's easy or what's right? Will you let your emotions steer the wheel, or will you rise above them? Will you cave in when it's hard, or will you stand tall and move forward anyway? It's not complicated. It's just not easy. Most people are looking for motivation, but motivation fades. Discipline doesn't. And discipline is built when no one's watching, when you're tired and stressed and nothing feels worth it, but you still do the right thing. That's what sets you apart. That's what builds the kind of strength that doesn't crack under pressure. You weren't built to coast. You weren't built to float through life. You were built to rise, to fight for your future, to become someone you're proud of. But pride doesn't come from comfort. It comes from knowing you gave your best when no one expected it from you, when it would have been easier to settle. But you didn't. You chose the harder path. You chose to think about yourself, to focus, to push, to build. The cost of growth is always high, but the cost of regret is higher. Every time you delay, you're building a life you'll wish you had changed. You're reinforcing patterns that keep you stuck. You're feeding the part of you that believes you'll never rise. And the only way to break that cycle is to act, not with emotion, with intention, not for others, for yourself. Because the real enemy isn't out there. It's the version of you that settles. It's the version of you that knows what to do but won't do it. And you can't outrun that version. You can only outwork it, outcommit it, outlast it, until you're standing so tall in your discipline, so solid in your vision, that nothing that once held you back can touch you anymore. Thinking about yourself isn't weakness. It's strength. It's saying, I'm no longer going to live a life that drains me. It's saying, I'm no longer going to accept less than what I know I'm capable of. That's not selfish. That's responsible. That's ownership. That's what changes your entire life, when you finally stop waiting for someone else to believe in you, and you choose to believe in yourself. You don't need a perfect schedule. You don't need every detail mapped out. You need consistency. You need fire. You need honesty with yourself. Stop pretending you're trying if you're not consistent. Stop telling yourself you're disciplined if you keep negotiating with laziness. Look at your actions, not your words. They reveal everything. And if your actions aren't aligned with your goals, then you already know what needs to change. You just haven't committed to it. But you can. You can take back control right now. You can change direction right now. You can stop letting your feelings run the show and start letting your purpose guide your every move. The strongest people are not loud. They're not desperate for attention. They're steady, calm, committed. And their strength is built in silence, through focus, through resilience, through sacrifice. You won't see them complain. You'll see them build. And that's who you can be too. If you decide that you're done with shortcuts, done with excuses, done with hoping for change, and ready to become the change, you don't need to prove anything to anyone else. The only person who needs to believe in you is you. But that belief has to be earned. Earned through action. Earned through discipline. Earned through showing up, day after day, even when the results are slow, even when the progress feels invisible. Because eventually it adds up. And when it does, the world will see the results. But you'll know who built it. You did. And that's why you keep going. Because once you taste the power of becoming your own foundation, once you realize you can build strength from the inside out, you stop needing permission. You stop asking if it's the right time. You stop doubting whether you're good enough. You begin. You move forward. You commit. Not for show, not for applause, but because it's the only way to live without regret. No more hoping the world sees your worth. Show yourself. No more chasing validation. Build value within. You don't rise by convincing others. You rise by confronting yourself, by holding your own standard and never letting it fall. even when no one would blame you if it did. That's real strength. That's how character is shaped. Not when life is easy, but when everything in you wants to quit, and you still choose to go on. You have to live in such a way that you no longer seek to escape yourself. Because when you respect yourself, when you trust yourself, when you show up for yourself every single day, there is peace in your mind. There is clarity in your choices. There is fire in your movement. You become solid, grounded, and nothing outside of you has the power to shake that. So think about yourself. Always. Think about the direction you're moving in. Think about the habits you're reinforcing. Think about the future you're building with every choice you make. Because this life, it doesn't wait. Time won't pause for you to figure it out. Every day you delay is a day you never get back. Every moment of hesitation adds up. And eventually you look up and wonder where the years went. They went into avoiding the hard work, into chasing comfort, into avoiding discomfort, into waiting for something or someone to pull you up, instead of doing it yourself. But now you know better. Now you know the path is not about wishing, or waiting, or wondering. It's about deciding, about acting, about becoming someone who doesn't make excuses. Because the vision you hold is too powerful to abandon. You don't have time for excuses when your life is on the line, when your potential is being wasted, when your peace is being traded for distractions that don't mean anything. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being disciplined. It's about taking responsibility for how you live, how you think, and how you show up. It's about refusing to be the person who keeps saying someday. Because someday is a myth. It doesn't exist. There's only now. There's only this moment. And what you do with it determines everything. Every second matters. Every decision counts. Every day you either move closer to the life you want or further away from it. There is no pause button. You're either building yourself or breaking yourself. You're either showing up or selling out. And when you really grasp that, when you finally get honest with yourself, you stop letting minor problems distract you from your major purpose. You stop letting fear make decisions for you. You stop being reactive and start becoming intentional. Start owning your time. Start owning your thoughts. Start owning your results. And when something goes wrong, don't run. Don't blame. Don't spiral. Step up. Look in the mirror. Ask yourself what needs to change, and then go change it. Because all the power you need is already inside you. It always has been. But you've got to use it. You've got to direct it. You've got to commit to it. Over and over. Even when life throws storms in your path. And it will. Life will test your commitment. It will push back. It will make you question everything. But those moments are not the enemy. They're the invitation. They're the resistance you push against to grow stronger. They're the fire you walk through to prove to yourself that you can. And every time you choose to rise instead of retreat, you're shaping a version of yourself that you can trust. Not just in the easy days, but in the chaos, in the stress, in the failure. You become dependable. And that's what makes life better. Not luck, not shortcuts, not praise, just becoming the kind of person who follows through on everything that matters. No matter what. That's how you build pride. That's how you build confidence. Not by waiting to feel ready, but by doing the hard work and seeing that you survived, that you adapted, that you moved through the pain and came out stronger, clearer, and more focused. You want peace, earn it. You want success, build it. You want strength, create it. And it all starts with where your focus is. If your focus is scattered, so is your energy. If your focus is on others, you forget yourself. And when you forget yourself, everything starts to fall apart. So bring it back. Bring your attention back to what matters. You, your mindset, your habits, your decisions, your life, and take it seriously. Because if you don't, no one else will. You've got to stop acting like your time is cheap. Stop giving it away to things and people that drain you. Stop letting every distraction interrupt your direction. Your time is your power. And when you waste it, you weaken yourself. When you protect it, you build momentum. You start to move with purpose. And that kind of movement is rare. Most people don't move with purpose. They react. They drift. They chase validation. They try to keep up with the world and end up losing themselves in the process. But that doesn't have to be you. You can take control. You can slow down, get clear, and make deliberate decisions. You can start acting like your life is your responsibility. Because it is. Everything changes when you stop blaming. When you stop waiting for a better environment, a better opportunity, a better feeling. You don't need better conditions. You need better choices. And those choices start in your mind. That's where everything begins. Your mindset is the foundation. If your thoughts are weak, your life will be weak. If your beliefs are scattered, your results will be scattered. If you think small, you'll live small. It's not complicated. You are what you allow yourself to believe. And most people settle because they've convinced themselves they can't rise. But that story is not true. That story is a trap. And the moment you stop feeding it, the moment you decide to rewrite it, you give yourself power again. Power to change direction. Power to fight back against every excuse. Power to finally become who you were always capable of becoming. But only if you stop lying to yourself. Only if you stop saying, I'll do it tomorrow, when you know deep down you won't. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, but right now is. This breath, this choice, this second. It's all real. And if you waste it, it's gone. But if you use it, it multiplies. It compounds. It grows into something real, something lasting, something solid. So ask yourself, how do you want to live? Not in theory, not in 5 years. Today, right now. What kind of person do you want to be when no one's watching? What kind of effort are you proud of when the world is silent? Because that's the only thing that matters. Not the opinions, not the applause, not the recognition, just the quiet truth you carry when you look yourself in the mirror and know you didn't fold today. You didn't lie to yourself. You didn't quit on your potential. You showed up for yourself, for your purpose, for the life you know is possible. If you stop running and start building, it doesn't matter how far you've fallen. It doesn't matter how long you've been stuck. The moment you decide that your future matters more than your past, everything begins to change. Slowly, quietly, consistently, you begin to shift from a life of excuses to a life of responsibility, from delay to decision, from fear to fire. And it's not glamorous, it's not comfortable, but it's worth it. Every early morning, every lonely evening, every sacrifice, no one sees. They all add up, and they build something no one can take from you, yourself, a version of you that doesn't crack under pressure, a version of you that doesn't beg for approval, a version of you that knows you earned everything you've built. So protect that. Protect your vision. Guard your habits. Feed your focus. You don't owe anyone your attention. You don't owe the world your energy. You owe yourself your commitment, your respect, your effort. Think about yourself. Think about the life you're crafting, one decision at a time. Think about the example you're setting for your future self. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be honest. You do have to take responsibility. You do have to keep showing up, because your future depends on it, and no one else is going to do it for you. No one is coming to push you out of bed. No one is going to hand you the life you dream about. No one is going to force you to think straight, to show up with intention, or to believe in yourself when things get tough. That's your job. That's your burden. That's your opportunity. You've got to build the kind of self-respect that keeps you moving even when no one claps for you. You've got to get to the place where your word means something, where when you say you're going to do something, you follow through, even if it's painful, even if it's inconvenient, even if no one else would know the difference, because you would know. And that should be enough. You build strength by holding yourself to that kind of standard. Quiet strength, unshakable strength, the kind of strength that grows from consistency, not emotion, from repetition, not motivation. And if you wait to feel like doing it, you'll stay stuck. If you wait to be inspired, you'll miss your window. The truth is, action creates momentum, not the other way around. So start where you are with what you have and who you are right now, not next week, not next year. Now, decide that you are worth the effort, not when everything's perfect, not when life is easier. Right now, when it's messy, when it's hard, when it hurts. That's where the change begins. That's where the real growth lives. In the struggle, in the resistance, in the discomfort. That's where most people tap out. That's where most people turn back. But that's also where the separation happens, where the few rise and the rest stay behind. So choose to rise, not by shouting, not by pretending, by doing, by showing up, by thinking about your choices, like your life depends on them, because it does. One poor decision can spiral a whole season. One lazy day can reset your progress. One excuse, repeated too many times, can become your identity. But one honest day can start a new path. One clear moment of focus can lead to real change. One decision to stop playing small can unlock everything. You just have to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start moving with the power of now. Ask yourself, what's at stake if you don't change? What are you risking by staying where you are? Not just success, not just progress, but peace, pride, self-respect, the ability to look at yourself without shame. That's what you lose when you keep choosing comfort over growth. Think about yourself, not selfishly, but seriously. Think about your mind. Is it focused or scattered? Are your thoughts building you or breaking you? Think about your actions. Are they aligned with your goals or working against them? Because if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. And that cycle won't break until you break it, until you interrupt the pattern, until you stop lying to yourself about why you're not where you want to be. You don't need to wait for a breakthrough. You need to create one. You need to outwork the excuses, outlast the pain, and outgrow the stories that have kept you playing small. You have the ability. You have the awareness. What you need now is the discipline, the follow-through, the daily decision to move, even if it's slow, even if it's hard, even if no one else understands it, especially then. Because the people who win are the ones who don't need external validation to keep going. They're the ones who have trained their minds to stay locked in, who know why they're doing it, who think about their future every single day, because that future is being shaped with every choice they make now. Don't be the one who gives up just before it starts to shift. Don't be the one who talks about potential, but never shows it. Don't be the one who waits for everything to be easy before you get serious. You don't get better by hoping. You get better by working, by focusing, by thinking about yourself not once, not sometimes, but always. You've got to care about where your mind is going. You've got to care about what you're letting in, the conversations you allow, the content you consume, the environments you stay in. Every bit of it either sharpens you or dulls you, either strengthens your clarity or poisons it. And the more distracted you are, the easier it is to drift from who you are. The easier it is to settle. The easier it is to lose track of the life you're supposed to be building. That's why you have to keep your focus tight, your standards high, your energy clean. Because the world will try to pull you in every direction. It will try to make you forget your priorities. It will try to convince you to give your time to things that don't move you forward. But every time you say no to the noise, every time you say yes to yourself, you get stronger, more locked in, more connected to your real path. You don't need to explain that to anyone. Not everyone will understand your discipline. Not everyone will support your growth. Some people will question your intensity. Some will take your focus personally, but that's not your concern. Your concern is your direction. Your concern is whether or not you're being honest with yourself, whether or not you're keeping the promises you made to yourself in the silence of your own mind. That's the real scoreboard. The one that matters. Are you showing up when it's not exciting? Are you working when no one's watching? Are you keeping your integrity even when it would be easier to cut corners? Because that's where character is built. And character is the foundation for everything lasting. Without it, success falls apart. Without it, progress becomes fake. But when your foundation is strong, when it's built on truth, work, and purpose, nothing can shake you. Not pressure, not failure, not doubt, but you have to earn that. You have to keep going when it would be easier to stop. You have to keep thinking about your mission when distractions are everywhere. You have to stay rooted in the truth of your path when the world offers you shortcuts. And that requires awareness. That requires emotional strength. That requires the kind of mental discipline that most people avoid developing. Because it's hard. Because it's not glamorous. Because it demands you confront yourself. But that confrontation is the beginning of growth. That honesty is the beginning of transformation. When you admit what's holding you back, you give yourself a shot at change. When you stop hiding behind reasons, you can finally start building results. It won't happen overnight, and it won't be perfect, but it will be real. And real progress is worth far more than pretend perfection. So don't worry about how far you have to go. Don't waste energy wishing you were further along. Focus on right now, on this day, on the decisions in front of you. They matter more than you think. Every small action compounds. Every disciplined moment builds. And one day what you built quietly will be undeniable. It will speak for itself. It will reflect the effort you poured into yourself when no one else saw it. That's what happens when you keep thinking about yourself. Not out of ego, but out of responsibility. Not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove to yourself that you were always capable of more. And you are. You always have been. You just have to keep choosing yourself. You just have to keep making decisions that reflect the life you say you want. You just have to stay committed, even when it's lonely, even when it's hard, even when it would be easier to go back to comfort. Because your future is built by what you do when no one's watching. And it starts with one question. Are you willing to give everything for the life you say you want? If the answer is yes, then you don't need to wait another day. You don't need a sign. You don't need permission. You already have everything you need to begin again right now. Not because everything's perfect, not because you feel ready, but because you've decided that who you are becoming matters more than what you're leaving behind. That kind of decision changes your posture. It straightens your back. It wakes you up. It brings your focus to the present, where all your power lives. You don't grow by rewinding the past. You grow by confronting the now, by showing up to the moment in front of you with your full effort, your full presence, your full belief. And belief is not just a feeling. It's a practice. It's a decision you make every single day, even when things aren't working, especially when things aren't working. Most people wait until they feel confident. You can't afford to wait. You build belief by acting. You build belief by moving, by doing, by proving to yourself one small win at a time that you are in control of your own growth. You don't get that power by sitting still. You don't build that mindset by avoiding discomfort. You earn it in the quiet, invisible moments when no one's clapping, no one's watching, and no one's reminding you to keep going. That's why you must think about yourself always, because the world won't remind you. It won't hand you discipline. It won't keep your vision sharp. That's on you. That's your responsibility. Your habits, your energy, your focus, they are yours to manage, and no one else will ever care about them the way you should. So care deeply. Care enough to say no to what doesn't serve you. Care enough to walk away from what drains you. Care enough to get honest about your time, your priorities, your future, not someday, now. Because if you don't, the years will pass and nothing will change. You'll get older, but you won't grow. You'll get busier, but you won't evolve. You'll go through the motions, but deep down you'll know you gave your best years to fear, to delay, to distraction. Don't let that happen. You owe yourself better than that. You owe yourself discipline. You owe yourself structure. You owe yourself the fight it takes to live with clarity and direction. Because clarity is power. When you know what matters, your decisions get sharper. When you understand your values, your actions align. And when you stay connected to your reasons, your discipline becomes unshakable. That's the foundation of a strong life, a real life, a life built on self-respect and inner control, not outside approval. Because success without peace is just noise. Growth without gratitude is empty. You want both. You want to build and stay grounded. You want to win and stay present. You want to climb, but you want to remain real while doing it. That's why you've got to be intentional. That's why you've got to wake up with purpose. Not just once, not just when it's convenient, but every single day, even when you're tired, even when you're doubting, even when you feel like giving up, especially then, because that's where most people fold, but not you. You've come too far to quit on yourself now. You've learned too much to go back to who you used to be. That version of you is done. That chapter is closed. You've got to keep moving forward now. Keep thinking, keep choosing, keep becoming, because that's the only way you win. By showing up when you don't feel like it, by giving your best when it's the hardest, by staying committed to the highest version of yourself when no one else is watching, and when everything in you wants to run. That's what separates you. That's what builds the kind of strength no one can take from you. That's what thinking about yourself always really means. It means you take full ownership of your time, of your words, of your habits, of your standards. You stop waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You stop needing outside motivation just to keep moving. You create your own fire. You generate your own momentum because you understand something most people never learn. Nobody is coming to save you. It's all on you. And that's not a burden. It's a gift. It means you're free. Free to become whoever you decide to become. Free to leave behind what no longer serves you. Free to rebuild your identity from the inside out. Not based on your past. Not based on your mistakes. Based on the truth of who you are today and the possibility of who you can become tomorrow. But you have to want it bad enough. Bad enough to stop negotiating with your excuses. Bad enough to get serious about your energy. Bad enough to cancel everything in your life that steals your focus and gives you nothing back. If you're not clear, you'll get caught in the loop. You'll start and stop, commit and quit, promise and avoid. You'll be motivated for a week and then disappear for a month. That's not growth. That's survival. And survival is not enough. Not for someone like you. Not anymore. You were made for more. You were made for progress. You were made for inner peace. Built through self-control. You were made to contribute something meaningful. To make your time count. To look at your life and know deep down you gave it your all. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens through deliberate effort. It happens through self-respect. It happens when you take yourself seriously. Not in a prideful way, but in a grounded, focused, committed way. Because this is your one shot, and you can't waste it being halfway in. You can't waste it living for the weekend. You can't waste it chasing validation from people who don't even know who they are. You've got something powerful inside you. But if you don't use it, it fades. If you don't protect it, the world will distract it. If you don't guard it, you'll end up living on autopilot, giving your days away to routines that don't serve you, people who don't value you, and patterns that keep you small. You don't need a reset button. You need resolve. You need to wake up and say, today I move different, and then prove it in the way you speak, in the way you show up, in the way you invest your time. Because time is your most precious currency. And once it's gone, you don't get it back. So spend it well. Spend it on building habits that will carry you through the storms. Spend it on strengthening your mind so that nothing external can shake your peace. Spend it on routines that make you stronger, faster, sharper, calmer. Because discipline is what gives you freedom. Clarity is what gives you peace. And focus is what gives your life meaning. But no one else will give those to you. You have to earn them. You have to live for them. You have to think about yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a responsible way. Because when you're clear, you help more people. When you're healthy, you show up better. When you're in control of yourself, you create space for others to grow too. It always starts with you. The changes you want to see in your life, in your work, in your relationships. None of it happens until you go inward, until you get honest, until you stop blaming, until you stop waiting, until you decide. And once you do, once that decision is real, everything begins to change. Not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you get stronger. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop letting the little stuff ruin your peace. You stop chasing people, approval, comfort, and you start building something unshakable from within. And that is where real power lives. Not in image, not in noise, but in the quiet, powerful choice to put yourself first, for the right reasons, in the right way, every single day. Because when you truly think about yourself always, you aren't selfish. You are wise. You understand that your life is the soil where everything else grows. If you don't nourish it, if you don't protect it, nothing else flourishes. Your family, your work, your community, none of it thrives without your strength. You become the person who others can rely on because you've learned to rely on yourself first. You become the example because you've done the hard work inside. You become the voice of calm in chaos because you've trained your mind to focus beyond distractions. You become the presence of discipline in a world full of excuses. That's the victory. Not in fame, not in fortune, but in the quiet confidence that you are doing your part. You are building your life with intention, courage, and respect. You are not settling for less than you deserve. You are not shrinking to fit anyone else's expectations. You are standing tall because you made the decision to think about yourself always, not in arrogance, but in responsibility, not in isolation, but in clarity, not in weakness, but in strength. This is the path of the mature soul, the path of the relentless spirit, the path of those who understand that greatness is not given, it is earned every day. Through every choice, through every moment when you choose yourself over distraction, over comfort, over fear. So hold that truth close. Let it burn inside you. Let it guide your steps and steel your resolve. Because when you think about yourself always, you do more than survive. You thrive. You don't just get through life, you master it. And that mastery is freedom. That mastery is peace. That mastery is the legacy you leave. So rise with that fire, walk with that strength, live with that purpose. Because your life, your real life, starts here. And it starts now. Think about yourself always, because you are worth it.